fun things in the news this week. We're going to start out with a not fun story. I know that you're not really on Facebook, but the evacuation of Afghanistan is going on, and it's been pretty chaotic. And recently, there was a suicide bomber who did, take out a lot of Afghans along with 13 service members. But something very alarming happened as well. And I just thought it was in poor taste. So I do just want to talk about it because I want to get your opinion on it. So the deadline to pull out is the 31st. However, we were supposed to be fully out by yesterday. So earlier last week, like beginning of the week, 2 congressmen went to Afghanistan. Now, there are currently no commercial flights to Afghanistan. They didn't say how they got there, but they did say that they did not take a military plane. One's a Republican, one's a Democrat. They are both former service members, but I thought it was in such poor taste because, like, as a former service member, I would think that you would understand that you're not supposed to be there and that you are, like, you specifically are not helping in that situation, because they even said, we had to pull people off of evacuating people to protect these 2 congressmen, because obviously we can't let our congressmen die in a war zone that they went to unannounced. Because it was an unannounced visit too. Like, they were not supposed to be there. It wasn't
unless our military had them go there specifically.
They didn't. They weren't even informed. They didn't know until they showed up.
Then I'm sorry, but that's the risk you're willing to take. Don't take our people off of their jobs for that.
Exactly. And I thought the exact same thing. I'm like, I can see that they called it a recon mission. They're like, we wanted to go and, see firsthand how this operation is going. It's like, we have like
use Snapchat.
I was like, we have 5 days to get as many of our people back to safety, because as soon as August 31st happens, our people are not protected. Now, obviously, because there was a suicide bomber, who is it? The Taliban didn't keep their word and, like, not attacking us, but we've had better luck with it than, like, if they hadn't made that agreement. So it was just so crazy. That was like, why would you just hinder that operation? And then they said too, they're like, and we swear we didn't take any seats from people that were evacuating. We waited hours to get on a return flight back. You shouldn't have fucking been there.
No.
Like,
and how did you get there? Why don't you go back the way you came?
And I really want to know how they got there, because they didn't say. Because one of my coworkers was like, well, they probably came on a military plane. But then in an interview one of them was doing, he goes, we did not take a military plane to get in. It's like, how did you get there? Like, who flew you in? And
so my way of keeping up with what's going on is, how Snapchat has like the big world map?
Yeah.
You can see where people are posted on the like global story thing.
Yeah.
I watched those, and then I followed people that were actively live there, that were actively posting what's going on. And I've like subscribed to those people, and I like keep watching their stuff. And like I saw when there was like tons of sirens and like bombs going off, it looked like at the Kabul airport. Mm-hmm. Like as it was happening. Like I was watching
that's probably the suicide bomber.
Yeah. I was like, before the news even broke of what was going on, like I was able to see it on Snapchat.
That's
from crazy. The locals that live there that are posting the videos. Like, they've posted actual videos of the Taliban going into the homes, and I mean,
and that's
like,
what
you can see so much. Like, it's crazy.
There's no bias. There's no
there's no bias. There's no media people telling you. Like, you're actually seeing what's really going on.
That's when you wonder too. You're like, how much of this is just because you've seen like the news interview people, and like they're expecting people to answer one way, and they like ask them the pointed questions and they answer another way, and people are like, oh, how do I spin this real quick to fit our viewership? I did see there was like this super sad article about she was a teacher, and when the Taliban fell in 2001, she started a school for women, and she was just teaching them. And she posted a story where she said that she burned everybody's records. She's like, I have evacuated, but I just wanted to let everybody know I am safe. But if you were a member of my school, your record has been burned. There's no record of you having an education. And it was specifically for their safety, because you can't let people know that these women are educated because they'll be executed.
Yeah.
And it was just so sad that I was like, wow, like she burned their school records for their safety, and they all just have to pretend like they don't have an education. And there was a robotics team that got evacuated too. They're like an all-female robotics team that was like, no, their safety is in jeopardy. Like, we have to get them out. I think they're in Canada now. But yeah, it's a super upsetting just situation. And I don't know how it's going to play out, because we just did an airstrike over there. So because of the suicide bombers, President Biden said that like, we will take action. We will like avenge our fallen soldiers. And then we just did an airstrike. So I'm like, are they gonna do an airstrike back? Like, are we back at war? Like, and it's such a gray area, because you're like, you don't want to be like, listen, it was sad that a suicide bomber happened, but like, let's just kind of not start shit. But also like, you can't just let that go, because then that could lead us to more attacks. It's stupid.
It's a tough situation, because like the Taliban said they would take over if we left.
And they did.
They did what they said that they were going to do. But at the same time, like their own, like the Afghan military and stuff that we've been training and, providing all this stuff for, was not doing their part. So it was like, why are we here training you doing this if you're not going to do your part?
All of their military leaders too just left.
Yeah.
Immediately.
So it's like, it was just one of those situations like, we don't need to be there, but we also have to be there. So it's like, what do you do?
Well, there was actually an interesting article that I saw where somebody was like, we are not the first people to think that we can make Afghanistan a dictatorship. Like, we are like the third or fourth country that went in there that was like, we can do it. I know all of these other people have failed, but like, we can totally handle this. And so it just kind of begs the question. It's like, maybe they really can't be a democracy. Maybe their government just cannot be switched over, and we should learn from history and focus on like maybe evacuating other people, taking refugees, things like that. Because if they are that powerful, that multiple big countries, like I think one of them was China, I think one of them might have been Israel, possibly Russia, but like all big superpower countries that tried to go in there and failed. And now the US went in there and spent 20 years there, and then we failed too. I mean,
I think at this point it's rescue the people.
Exactly. And they were saying too, which I don't agree with, especially in this day and age. And it kind of reminded me of Titanic, where they said that they were evacuating women and children, which I know women and children are at risk the most, but they were splitting families. And I don't like that, especially because if you think about it, a lot of these women are not educated as much as like they should be.
And they're used to having the male family members protecting them.
And they have children. So to pick them up and put them in the United States or any of the other countries that they're going to, and not have that lifeline of like somebody who knows how to provide and take care of these things, I think you're really setting them up for failure. And I hate that we're doing just women and children. I think we should be evacuating whole families. I think that's crazy. But yeah, just
one issue with the Taliban running Afghanistan is like 80% of the world's I think it's cocaine or
no, it's not a drug. I know what you're talking about. It's like a mineral or something.
No, that too. But one of the main drugs that is used for opiates and pain relief, maybe heroin, I'm not sure. comes from Afghanistan. So, like, it's like it's like one of those, we need that for medical reasons, but at the same time, without that, like the opiate crisis is basically just going to go away because there
Yeah, I
won't
was gonna
be any.
say, I'm like, I don't think that finding an alternative to opioids is that bad of a thing. Like maybe we can find
Yeah,
something that's
but for medical,
better.
like whatever it is, it's stuff though that we have to have. Like whenever you go to the eye
Okay.
doctor, they put,
Yeah.
what is it, heroin in your eye to numb it and stuff, and or
Oh
to do
yeah.
this stuff on it. Like all of that would be effective.
Yeah, and to lose it, like if we lost it gradually, like if it was like, you know, if we had been finding alternatives this
Right.
whole time, and I really wish that we were doing more stuff. Maybe we are, you know, working on alternatives to these things that we have, that we are reliant on these other countries, especially a country that we are not on great terms with. Um, you know, we could have, you know, done that, but yeah, to lose it like overnight, it's going to be really bad,
Yeah,
especially on top
instead
of
of
like,
all of our funding going toward the military to keep connections with all these countries, why are we not trying to be more self-sufficient? Use that
yeah.
money to go toward how we don't need the computer chips for all of our cars to be able to be completed and be, finished making them or whatever. Because, like we're waiting on all these computer chips from like China or somewhere where they haven't been able to make them because of the COVID crisis, which is why a lot of our dealerships don't have vehicles at them, because they're all at the
Yeah.
factory waiting on the computer chips because we don't make those computer chips here. Why the hell do we not make those computer chips here?
Right. And
Like
especially
there's
when
just so
everybody's
much that we
main thing
depend
is
on
like,
everybody else for.
yeah, like, and there's not a single person in this country who's like, no, I don't want things that to be made in America. I want things made by
Right?
other countries. Like, no, we would love to do it. It would solve so many issues. We could get
So many.
more things, especially like, let's fucking get Detroit back up and running. They were once the car capital of the world. We're having a car crisis. Somebody put some people in Detroit and fix their economy, because like Detroit is just a ghost town and just like so poor and so just like taken. It's so sad. It was once just this booming economy, and now like I found houses there for like 10 grand, and like it's so crazy. And there was an episode of something I saw once where they were trying to make Detroit like a hipster food destination, but I don't think they've succeeded. um but it was cool because like all of these different hipster food companies like went in and they were like, oh, we're going to make this a booming food economy, so people are going to visit for the food. But I don't think food is, it's an industry. We're the Midwest. We're
Yeah.
industry all the way. Like put some factories there.
Yeah, give them some jobs.
Yeah. So with, you mentioned COVID, there are a couple different places that are talking now about making unvaccinated people pay higher on their health insurance because they're unvaccinated. So Delta Airlines specifically is saying that they're going to charge $200 per month extra for unvaccinated individuals for their health insurance.
Like their employees?
Yeah, their employees. I'm all for it. I think it's great.
I mean, it's like the vaccine is not 100% against COVID, but it's 100% or like 99.9
yeah,
for severe cases of COVID. Like if you're vaccinated, it's like basically a 0% chance you're going to end up on a ventilator fighting for your life.
Yeah.
So how much more does that add to the cost for your insurance company? Don't get me wrong, I fucking hate the insurance companies.
Yeah, they're so bad.
But those rising costs will be distributed among all of us.
Yeah.
And I would rather the people who choose not to get vaccinated to take those costs instead of my insurance going up for it, because they decided not to get fucking vaccinated.
And the vaccine is free. Like you could get the vaccine today for free, like, and you're just choosing not to. And then people made the comparison that smokers pay more for health insurance, and they're like, why don't why don't people that, aren't vaccinated pay more? Because smokers also pay more. It's a health risk. And then, of course, the people who don't want to get vaccinated said, well, obesity also causes more health issues, which like it does. And I could absolutely.
But there are things that can cause you to be obese that you can't control. Like Lillian, she's overweight, but she has done every diet you can possibly think of. She did martial arts 6 days a week for hours a day and was still gaining weight. So she was doing every possible thing that you could do to lose weight and was still gaining. That was totally out of her control. She's never used any sort of drugs. She thought she was going to fail a drug test at school like last year or the year before because she took Tylenol. Like, I'm telling you, this child does nothing wrong. Like, she did everything she could possibly do. But she has hormonal imbalances and it causes her to gain weight no matter what she does. So while I totally see the obesity argument, there are so many, like PCOS, you're going to be overweight if you have PCOS. There's just no getting around that. You're going to have the midsection weight and there's nothing you can do about it. No matter what you take, it does not go away.
Well, and the line for obesity, it's just based on your height. You could be in perfect health. There's a ton of like bodybuilders and pro athletes that are considered obese because their weight to height. So it's like one of those things where I can see the argument, but it's absolutely not the same. And especially since the entire country is pretty much overweight. So like if we got to the point where the whole country wasn't overweight, then I could see it being like, hey, you're going to pay just a little bit more a month because you don't have these issues that
I would rather they do like they do in the UK and many European places and just do a sugar tax.
Oh, yeah.
That way, if you're obese from legitimately just eating too much sugar, then you're paying more because you're going to be paying more for that food.
There was a sugar tax in Illinois for a couple of years on like soda, and people like lost their fucking minds. And it's like, it's not even that much more money. And it was one of those things where it was like cents. And I never understand people that like obsess that much about like cents. Like the people that are like, gas is 2 cents cheaper at this gas station across town, so I'm going to go across town. Like, you're not actually saving money.
You literally just burned off that money by driving over there.
So like, I never understand people that are like, it's going up like just a couple pennies and people are like irate about it. Like, I get it, inflation sucks, but like it's bound to happen. But they were doing that. And then another thing that they were saying is unvaccinated people are going to have to be tested once a week. And then it becomes an issue of should they have to pay for that COVID test? And I think they absolutely should. Like, why should we all be footing the bill for a weekly COVID test? It's 52 COVID tests a year just because you don't want a free shot. And like, obviously the people that have the legitimate medical conditions and can't get it, they wouldn't have to do it. But like, just those people, they're just like, I just don't want the shot. Great. Well, here's the cost of the COVID test. Please provide a note every single week that you have a negative test. But so that's the newest.
All those hassles, I'd be like, even if I was an anti-vaxxer, I'd be like, just give me the damn shot. I don't want to do
you're like, I don't want to do this every week. Well, and that's what people are saying too. They're like, the fact that they can't go into restaurants and venues and like just general things in life. It's like, I get it. It's inconvenient. But just
they're the same ones that are bitching because of the economy being hit by COVID too. And it's like, if everybody got vaccinated, this thing would be over and like it would be over. We would not be having an issue with it. Just period. It would be over.
Yeah. But because people are still not getting vaccinated, we're going to have another variant. There's guaranteed to be another variant aside from Delta. And it's going to be worse because every time there's a new variant, it's worse because that's how viruses work.
Right.
Like, that's why you get the annual
mutate in order to beat what we're doing, because it's just like, it's basic evolution. And anyone who knows anything about evolution will know that they're going to evolve and change to defeat the challenges that they face.
Yeah.
Just like anything else.
So, so it's so stupid and frustrating. And like I told you last week, I think that like my office has pushed back their opening date again. Like Illinois just put the mask mandate back in place, which like I don't love it, but I also like it's fine. Like it's whatever at this point. But like I do know a lot of people that like lost their minds and they're like, and it was so weird too, because I had a couple people that were like, I'm gonna go out and do as many things this weekend without a mask before they mandate. It's like, why? Like if you weren't going to go out before, why do it now? Because you're gonna have to wear a mask the next time. Like
I don't even care. Like it doesn't even bother me to wear a mask. I really don't care.
No, the only thing that bothers me is I've been wearing lipstick more, so like the mask against, but I just bought one of those plastic things to extend it, so now problem solved. Because that's and my the mask that I wear, my favorite mask has lips on it, so it's not no different. It always my face always looks perfect. So, and that's why I bought it because I was like, I want one with lips, so I have like pink shimmery lips on my mask.
It's a really cute mask. I love that.
I like it. And OnlyFans is back. So OnlyFans heard that we're all super pissed about it, and they're back. So our cake sitting OnlyFans will be shortly. Yeah, feet. We're you know what? We're also stepping on cakes. Please send cakes.
Yeah,
that's a thing too.
You have a cake fetish or a foot fetish, we got both of them covered by stepping on cakes.
I'm sure it's good for you. Like I've seen it, and like I really wish that like I could get on board with the foot fetish, but like I dated somebody with a foot fetish once, and like it just weirds me out. Like I can't do it. Like I'm sorry, please don't like lick my feet. They're disgusting. Like even after I've just showered, they're disgusting.
Yeah, no.
So
you can massage them. There was a guy locally that came to our mall and was like, everyone was talking about it because he kept trying to massage women's feet. And I was like, I would love to run into this guy. Like, I would let him massage my feet all day long. Like, I do not care. I don't care if he's sitting there getting off on it. It doesn't matter to me. I'm getting a foot rub. Like, that's all I care about.
Briefly, when I was having some foot pains, like a year or two ago, I was like, where are all those foot fetish guys now? Like, I need somebody just like 24/7 run my feet. There was actually a murder case that was solved recently. And one of the things is the girl, when she was found, she was fully clothed, no like signs of rape or anything. But she was missing her socks and shoes. And
Aww, he gave her a massage before you murdered her? That's so sweet.
He just took them after he murdered her and took her socks and shoes. When they caught him like 20 years later. It was like a whole thing. It was a super fascinating story. When they caught him, and it was specifically white like tennis shoes, he had 20 pairs in his closet from different women. Then they connected him to other murders. He was a foot fetish dude, and he was murdering people and taking their white tennis shoes. Yeah.
I just peeled the skin off my tomato. So now it feels like an eyeball.
Gross.
Look at these tomatoes, though. This is totally off topic.
No, you're fine.
Ooh. They're like some kind of black something kind. But they like turn black as they ripen.
That's interesting.
They're really
I'm not
good.
A tomato person. Tomatoes freak me out.
We grew these ourselves.
That's so cool. You're ready for the apocalypse.
Right.
I actually, so I saw a story recently about how there's about to be a bunch of like production issues. So they were saying, so one thing is Nabisco is on strike. So, which good for them. They're striking. Yeah, so they're striking for the same reason Lay's was, and I haven't heard if the Lay's strike ended, but the same thing. Working the, 12 plus hour days, no overtime, shitty conditions, like, great, strike, get what you deserve. But then I was thinking about it and I was like, okay, so there's, another company that like, they're going to have production issues with their food. And then recently there was an article that was talking about how, because of lack of people and additional tariffs and like just like production issues, there's going to be less things coming into the US. So what they were specifically saying, which was so stupid, they were like, buy your Christmas presents now because you won't be able to find these things at Christmas because of production issues. And I was like,
well, my kids will just do without.
That's why I said, I'm like, how shitty it was to do that as your buy now, buy now, buy now, instead of, think about doing more homemade things, think about acts of service, think about doing all of these things for Christmas. But it got me thinking about like the production issues. And my immediate thought was, of all of the times to not garden myself, to not like make my own food, be semi-self-sustainable, like there are going to be issues. I'm going to have to like,
we're not doing a very good job. Like our plants have not produced nearly what they should be producing.
Really?
Yeah. But we also just half-assed it, so.
Oh, well, I mean, if you're half-assing it.
We're still getting stuff. I haven't had to buy tomatoes in a while, so.
That's good. I am thinking about doing a berry tree when I get my house, because the people I house it for have a blackberry tree.
You mean a blackberry bush?
No, it's a tree. I don't know,
Blackberries grow on bushes, but I mean, maybe a big bush.
No, it's got like a trunk and then leaves that come off it.
We have tons of blackberry bushes.
The berries are black and they come off a tree.
Are you sure it's not like persimmons or
I don't know what it is.
Well, muscadines are grape type things.
I have no idea what it is. However, it is some type of, no, it's berries. Like they look like blackberries. So, but they asked me to pick them one time, and I'll send you a picture of it when I'm there.
Okay, I'm gonna look.
Are you looking up if blackberries are on trees?
Well, I know that they're not, but
I know raspberries are bushes. But yeah, so but I had to pick them one time, and like there was so many of them, and like you can freeze them, and I've been doing the smoothies recently. So I was like, oh, that'd be so convenient to like grow my own.
So there are other species of shrubs and trees that produce fruit that look just like blackberries, but differ in classification, flavor, texture, and development.
Okay.
So they're not actual blackberries.
Yeah, that's fine. Either way. But I was like, that would be super convenient because then I can have like berries and things, and I don't have a green thumb. But
dewberries.
Dewberries?
Mulberries. Salmon berries.
Oh, we had a mulberry tree growing up. I wonder if it's a mulberry tree.
That's what I was thinking was mulberry when I was running through different ones. We also grow these little orange tomatoes.
Ooh.
They're good.
I would grow cucumbers and asparagus for sure. And then I really like raspberries.
I love asparagus. Asparagus only grows like in like May and June.
Yeah, but it grows a lot. Like you can legitimately watch asparagus grow. It grows that quickly.
I know my stepdad used to go get it. Like it would grow like beside the train tracks and on the sides of like ditches and stuff. He would find it like everywhere. And had like tons of asparagus. There was like one year it was like he had so much. And my brother, it was after I was an adult. My brother was like, I'm so tired of asparagus. We have asparagus with every freaking meal. Like asparagus and scrambled eggs and asparagus, like with everything we have asparagus. I love asparagus though.
I do too, but I feel like if I did eat it every day, and that's my issue, is like I just love the variety.
This one squeezed on me. It's juicy.
Yeah, that's what I would grow those for sure. And then with your background, an interesting study came out. There is a study that says that every hot dog that you eat takes 30 minutes off of your life. And that's stupid, first of all, because you can't possibly put a number to a food of how much it takes off your life. It's the same thing with like cigarettes. Like it'll shorten your life, but you can't sit there and tell me my life will be 3 minutes.
So what's the reasoning that it does? I know that because it's a processed meat, it like makes you way more likely to have like colon cancer.
You know what? I didn't read the article. I just watched a video of somebody who explained why that doesn't work. And she literally was just like, you can't quantify how much it takes off. But I was like, but also sometimes you just really want a hot dog, and only 30 minutes. I mean, there's times that I'd be like, yeah, that's fine. I'll lose 30 minutes for this hot dog. Heinz ketchup, actually, I saw this today, is coming up with a hot dog sauce, and it's specifically called Chicago hot dog sauce because we don't put ketchup on our hot dogs, so they're missing a huge market. So if they do a hot dog sauce instead of a ketchup, they're hoping that we'll put it on our hot dogs.
I like Miracle Whip
on hot dogs. Well, that's why you're going to have an hour off of your life for each hot dog you eat.
Okay, it is the processed meat. It said 40.45 minutes are lost per gram of processed meat, or 0.1 minutes are gained per gram of fruit. So just basically, when you eat a hot dog, eat a bunch of fruit too, and you're good.
Yeah, like problem solved. I'm just gonna have a bunch of fruit with my hot dog, and then they counteract each other. But that just seems like basic food, though.
Yeah, it's the processed meats. But it is bad. I mean, it's like chocked. What was that about?
What?
My mic changed.
Oh.
It's like full of sodium and everything else.
Yeah, hot dogs are not a nutritious food. And they never have been. It's not like this is new.
Lillian was staying with my parents for her spring break. Mm-hmm. She was like 7 or 8. I don't remember. Maybe 9. I talked to Dad, or I talked to Lillian, and she had just eaten like 7 hot dogs, and I was like, why is she eating 7 hot dogs? And everyone's like, she just kept wanting another one, so I kept giving them to her. And I was like, tell her no. What the hell? I don't normally buy hot dogs. Like, I don't get to have hot dogs at home very often. You know, so it was that, ooh, I'm getting to have hot dogs. And she just kept eating them. I'm like, don't let her eat them. Oh my God.
When my first boyfriend, when I was over at his house one day, his grandparents were making us food, and I was a vegetarian at the time, so she was like making me grilled cheeses, but she kept making me grilled cheeses. Like every time I would get close to like finishing one, she'd put another one on my plate, and I'm just like, what's the polite way to be like, woman, please stop putting grilled cheese on my plate? I'm just one person. But like, she wouldn't stop, and that's what I think of. And I'm sure Lily was just immediately like, more hot dogs. I have pretzel dogs right now in my freezer. My dad made them for me. But it's a hot dog with cheese, and then it's wrapped in pretzel dough, and it's super delicious, but like I'm sure very bad for you. And I was like, if you could give these to me, I have like a real craving for them. He made me 60. And he's like, they're frozen. And I was like, I wanted like a couple, like 60. He goes, yeah, I just made 60. You can freeze them. Like, I'm going to like eat 60 pretzel dogs, and I'm not sharing them. Like, I don't share the foods that I like. Like, if there's anything that there is to know about me, I will not share the foods that I like. You can get your own version of it. Like pot stickers. I love pot stickers for Chinese food. So even though there's too many of them and I really can't eat them all.
What?
Pot stickers, it's like a ball of pork like this big covered in like dough. And it's amazing.
Okay, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I get those, and like I refuse to share them when I eat Chinese food with somebody. So they're like, oh, I want some pot stickers too. I'm like, listen, if you're gonna eat any more than one of them, you're gonna need your own. Like not sharing. So sorry.
Yeah. I don't like to share my egg rolls.
I get that. But why would you share an egg roll?
If they're good egg rolls. I don't like all egg rolls, but if they're good egg rolls.
I feel like an egg roll is like a harder thing to share. Like a pot sticker, they're like 6.
No, I mean like.
Oh, like your pack of 2, they're both for you.
Yeah.
Egg rolls are cheap. Get your own.
Yeah.
Like now I want Chinese food.
I do too.
There was an interesting question posed too about if people should be splitting their bills 50-50 or if they should be doing them based on equity. So like if you made 3 times more than your partner, should you be splitting the bills 50-50 or should you be doing it like where you cover more of them so it's equitable? And I thought that was an interesting thing.
I don't know. I mean, we just share our money, so.
Well, yeah. That's what, but like for people that are like dating and living together, where like they have separate bank accounts, because they were basically saying, they're like, okay, so if you make $40 an hour and I make $20 an hour and we're splitting everything down the middle, the down the middle price is hurting my budget a lot more than it's hurting yours.
Right.
And it causes like a ton of issues for people. There was it was an Am I the Asshole story that I read, but I don't think that I brought up on the show. But it was essentially this girl who was like, am I the asshole for refusing to go on outings with my boyfriend during our family vacation? So she had been dating this guy for a couple of years. His family invited her on the trip. They are all very well off and she is not. So it even said that she got a second job to pay for it. She was like working 24/7. She was doing all these things like to pay for it herself. And then they were going out to these restaurants that were just like these insanely expensive places. And she's like, listen, I can't go. Like that's out of my budget. And he didn't like offer to pay or anything. And then when they got back, he was like, oh, you're so rude. I can't believe that you know, wouldn't go to all these activities with me. And it's like, why wouldn't you offer to pay for it if you saw that she legitimately got a second job for the sole purpose of going on vacation with your family? Yeah. If you're that well off and your family's that well off, why would you not offer to like pay for some of it?
Right.
It wasn't like she was just like sitting there like on her ass, just like you pay for it. Like she got a job, she was trying and she just like couldn't keep up. And I thought that was like interesting. So then when I saw the story about like the equitable splitting, I was like, that would be so helpful for so many couples. Because you always think you're like, no, we just split everything 50-50, but it's like 50-50 is not equal. Like 50-50 is just like absolutely crazy. So I'm curious if I ever like cohabitate with somebody, I'll be like, okay, let's see how this works. That way everybody's like happy.
I mean, when I was with Sarah, we didn't share money.
Mm-hmm.
And I made significantly more than she did. So I paid most of the bills and just had a few small ones that she was expected to pay.
Yeah.
So because I made a lot more. So
yeah. So that's what it is, the equitable split.
Yeah. So I guess I'm that type of person that's like, it should be equitable.
Yeah. I think it should be too. It's like just thinking about it, like,
because she was working, you know, she was working too, you know, she was earning money, but it would have taken more than what she made if we split it down the middle.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, that's not fair.
No.
And she also, like, on her days off, like when I would come home for work, the house would be spotless. Like,
yeah.
Because she didn't work as many hours as I did. So, like, you know, on her days off, she would have the house all clean for me and have dinner ready, you know, and everything.
That's convenient.
It's really nice.
Yeah. You just want a wife. I just want somebody that'll do all these things. I have considered that. I'm like, listen, I can pay for everything myself. Like, I can afford my own apartment. I can pay all my bills. I still have money to like spend recklessly. What I don't have is the energy to clean my house and cook myself dinner. And like, I'm not going to hire somebody to clean for me because I
just
don't like
move in with me.
I know.
Except I don't like to clean either.
Yeah.
Never mind.
We're gonna need an extra person.
We need another wife.
Well, I saw a post recently that was like, why is everybody poly nowadays? And somebody responded, because it takes 7 people to pay a mortgage. Yes. But yeah, like I don't want to cook for myself. That's the biggest thing. I don't mind cleaning, but I'm not going to do it on like a daily basis. But like, I hate cooking. Like I love it, but there's so many dishes, there's too many leftovers, there's too many ingredients. I'm not great at
if you're poly and you have more people when you cook, you're not gonna have all those leftovers.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing too, is I want to be able to cook for other people, but I don't have anybody that like wants all the extra food. And that's the thing too, is I found with being poly, it's not always that like throuple situation or like the more, and that's what I want. Because I talked to somebody recently who was like, no, they're going to be completely separate, you'll have no interaction with this other person, and that relationship is separate from yours. I'm like, that's not my ideal scenario. Like, it's not going to work, because I want us to be a cohesive unit. You know, I don't want it to be, you know, you can only see me on these specific days and I don't have any interaction with her. Like, I want to be friends with her. Like, it doesn't have to be like a sexual relationship, but I want to have girls' days.
Right.
You know? So
and someone to bitch with about the person that we're both with. Like they understand.
Yeah. Yeah, which I do have, because I dated somebody, and then one of my girlfriends also dated that person, and neither of us knew that we were both dating him. So like when she figured out before I did, because I had told her, because it was like a secret, and I told her, and then she felt so bad because she was worried that I like wouldn't want to be friends with her if I knew that like she was dating him too. And so she finally came clean to me and she was like, I'm so sorry, please don't hate me. I was like, why would I hate you? You didn't know I was dating him. Like, I'm mad at him. Like,
yeah.
Also, like, does he do this with you? And that's when we found out that this man, there was like 5 or 6 of us that he was dating. And he literally would just like send the exact same message to all of us. Like,
he was like that one guy in Texas.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy with all the girlfriends and the wives and whatnot. Yeah. And I was literally like, wow, like here I thought I was special and sending these same pictures to, you know, every single other girl. Like, my God. So, but yeah, like that was crazy. But yeah, that's why I found out like my ideal poly situation is like a throuple. Like, we don't necessarily have to live together, but we all have to be buddies.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and I would want it to be someone that I like and that I'm friends with.
Yeah.
Like if I was going to have a sister wife, like I would pick you as one of them. Like you would be my top pick probably, because like I can get along with you. I like you. I like to be around you, and we totally get each other. So like,
yeah,
why not?
Like that's what you want. Like you want somebody to do that, but like to know, because the thing too is when we were talking, he would say things like, "Oh, I'm going out to dinner with the wife's this. Oh, I'm doing this with my wife. Oh, I'm doing this." I'm like, so like you're just rubbing it in my face that like she's there. And like I know she's there, but like it just hurts because it's like we would get along, but like I can't because of this stupid rule that you guys have. But that one's not going to work out because there was a couple different, like the rules for being poly, you know, you determine them yourself, but they're so interesting. Like, you know, they're in a couple, so obviously they have the rules, but then I'm a single person and I would need possibly something supplemental as well. So it's like, okay, do me and you determine our own set of rules and then like I don't tell you about this person? Like, how does that work? Because I made the comment, I was like, well, like, do I get to date other people? He goes, well, yeah, that's what poly is. And I was like, yeah, no, I get that. I'm not stupid. Though. Yeah, and that's why I said, I'm like, I get that, but like we would have to discuss it as a couple. It's not just like,
yeah, I mean, because you've got the like, what if pregnancy comes up issue, or there's an STD, because everyone in this situation is being exposed. Exactly. So that's something that has to be discussed. You know, is everybody allowed to see other people? You know, and because that affects everyone.
Yeah, because that's what it comes down to is like, okay, him and his wife have their relationship. She has a boyfriend. He's dating me. I have a boyfriend. That boyfriend has a girlfriend. Like, and we're not all just in it together. So it, you know, it gets really complicated. But then, you know, that one had weird rules, which one I would never be okay with. No overnights. And I was like, why?
That's one of the reasons I would want you to have another person, is so I get a night away from you.
Yeah, like, and it really put it in perspective, because that was something I never expected to hear from somebody saying they were looking for a poly relationship. I was like, so this isn't really, like, this can't go anywhere. Like, there's no future with you because we can't go on a romantic weekend away. You can't even spend the entire night at my place. What's the point? You know?
Yeah.
And so it was just like really interesting finding it. And I really wish that like I knew, and I know I can find like different poly people, but it's just like, it's such a nerve-wracking thing to be like, I'm searching for a poly relationship. Like, I just want to happen upon one. And all of the ones that I've happened upon are very much not what I need. And so it's like, and it's a bummer, but I was up front and I was like, listen, I do really like you, but this is not the scenario that I can get on board with.
I'm weird because I absolutely am the jealous type. But like, if it was a situation where I'm like, okay, Megan is going to be the other one, if I chose it, I'm fine with it completely.
Yeah.
No jealousy at all. But if it's
No.
some random other person, and I'm like, who is that? Like,
Well,
I'm
because
like
that's
such a
like
weirdo.
when I was discussing being poly with a former boyfriend, we didn't end up doing it specifically because we couldn't get on the same page about like communication about it. So like he wanted to be told before the dates happened. Like he wanted to know like, okay, hey, I made plans of going out with this person tonight. Whereas I'm like, no, tell me after the fact. Because if you send me a text message and you're like, hey, I'm going out with this person tonight, why aren't you going out with me? Like,
Yeah.
why them and not me? But if you tell me in the morning, like, there's no harm, no foul, because I didn't realize that like we had the option to. I was off doing my own thing. I had a good night. I didn't need you. So like then it's just like, oh, cool. How was your date?
Yeah.
And like because we couldn't like get on board with that, so we could never be like poly, because I'm like, listen, I'll never tell you like the night before or like the day before or whatever. Because then like in my mind, I'll just be sitting in my apartment then thinking about you on a date with this other person instead of lounging, watching Netflix and just like being chill.
Yeah.
But I can totally see what you're saying. Like if you pick the person and you're fine with them, like you have the option to like, if there is a grievance, you can work it out.
Yeah.
But like if there's some issue, I can't work it out with that person because I'm not allowed to speak to them. I don't even know her name.
Yeah.
Like I don't like that.
I don't like secrets. I don't like lies. I don't like things going on that I don't know about. Like I'm a nosy person. I want to know everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I get you. Like I just want to feel like it's like a real relationship. Something where you're just like, you're not allowed to know or like you're not allowed to know my wife. Well, how do I know that you're actually poly? Because I've dated a lot of married guys who told me they were separated, told me they were divorced, told me they were this. And because I like don't like seeing people that often, just completely over my head that they were actually married because I don't need to talk to you 24/7. I don't need to see you all the time. And I like doing things for myself. So I just like completely didn't realize it. And so that's when I adopted the policy of being like, if they're like, oh, I'm separated. Cool. Does your partner know that you're separated? Like,
yeah.
Because that
if I ask your partner, are they going to say yes, we are?
Yeah. And so that's what it comes down to of like, I'm just taking your word that you're in a poly relationship and I don't know her. Yeah. I don't know if you are in a poly relationship. There's not going to be even an initial meeting. Like, so I don't care for that. And like, I want to be poly, but the interactions I've had are just not great. And then the only other poly people that I've like interacted with, they're like super far. And I was like, no, I don't want something long distance either.
Yeah.
Like, fine, I'll move to Arkansas. Like, whatever. Prefer it if you move to Chicago, but it's fine. Yeah, so it's just like super, I don't know how we got on this tangent.
I don't know, but in season 5 of Quib Talk, you will see that me and Megan will be married.
Oh God.
We'll be in a big marriage together with like 7 other people. Legal.
So are you going to divorce Anthony and marry me? Or is ours going to be ceremonial? Sure. Make his the ceremonial one.
We'll have like 7 people in our relationship by then.
Listen, like, I'm fine with that.
Then we'll be able to pay a mortgage because we'll have 7 people.
Like the more the merrier. Well, I mean, in Arkansas, we could totally pay it with 3, but it's true. We'll have a nice house, a mansion with like a moat.
There's a castle locally, a tiny castle that someone had built for their wife or something.
That's so cute.
It's like a little castle. Looks kind of like, I guess, like a White Castle castle.
Yeah.
Just like a little square castle.
I always wanted one of the tower rooms. I want a spiral staircase.
Love that.
And I love the round rooms. There's actually a house by me and it's an octagon. And I always wanted to like live in that house because it looks so cool. And then my dad's house, he actually got
down here, you could take one of the big grain bins. It's a circle. and turn that into a house.
I actually have seen people do that.
Mm-hmm. And you have a circle house.
Yeah. I don't need that much space. Like,
the grain bins are huge.
I know.
Like, that would be like a huge house.
Oh yeah. No, I've seen grain bins. There was also, I want to do a pool, but I don't need like a whole pool. So something you can do, I don't remember what they're called, but the water bowls for farm animals.
Those are expensive. I've looked into that about getting.
It's only a couple $100. So I mean, like, more expensive than, you know, you would hope, but not as expensive as a pool.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't need a whole pool. I don't want to swim in it. I just want to float in it. So like, I only need so much space.
Yeah. I'd like a pool, but I don't want to have to do the upkeep on it.
If you do a saltwater pool, they're self-sustaining.
Yeah. Me and Emily, I've had so many relationships. When I was with Emily, we had a saltwater pool, and like, we didn't have to use any chemicals or anything. It's like once a week we dumped a bunch of this big bag of salt we'd get, you know, into it, and then swim in it, you know, to stir the salt around, because you don't have to wait on the salt, you know, before you can get in. And it was like, it made your skin super soft, and it felt
that's why I love the ocean, because it makes my hair super soft. I had a really dumb moment because I didn't understand how saltwater worked. The house that I watch has saltwater fish tanks. And she was like, when the water level gets low, you have to add more water to it. I was like, well, the water thing was empty. So like, how do I add salt water? And she's like, what? And I was like, well, there was nothing. Like, do I just add tap water? And she's like, yes, the salt, we put the salt in. It's not like special salt water that you buy. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, see, we had a freshwater fish tank, but we still added salt to it, and like, our fish would have so much better color, and like, if they had any sort of injury, it would like heal almost immediately. They didn't have like issues with like fin rot or nothing like that. I mean,
saltwater is amazing. Like, the health benefits of it. They have two, like, I want to say like the mineral ponds, like, you can literally go, like, I think in Iceland and sit in like the mineral water, and like, you come out and like, your skin is like amazing. And they used it. There's a couple different diseases actually that I think are cured by going in that. Like, the treatment is literally go to Iceland and sit in this pool for like X amount of time.
You should open a place that has mineral water for you to soak in.
You can sit in a salt cave here. We have it's literally just like a building, and they have salt all over the walls, and you sit in like one of those gravity recliners, and you just like chill in there for 20 minutes, and it like clears your sinuses, and it's like super good for you. And it's supposed to be like the Himalayan salt lamp, which like, I wanted to get a Himalayan salt lamp because they're supposed to be really good for you.
Lily has one.
They're toxic for my cat, because that's why I read somebody was like, they're toxic
for cats.
Yeah.
What? So like, Lily has one in her room.
Yeah, you're gonna want to look into that. But I mean, if you haven't had any issues so far, you'll probably be fine.
I mean, she keeps her door shut.
Yeah,
nobody's allowed in there, so.
Yeah, so that was so I can't get one. Like, I'm gonna go and like sit. I want to go to a spa. Honestly, I've never been to a spa, and like, I always wanted to go and like get all of the things, like get them.
We should do that together. I've never done that either. Like, I've went and gotten massages and things like that, but I've never just like spent a whole day at the spa getting.
I was debating doing that because my vacation got canceled for September. I was like, you know, what if I just went and like Lindsey and I just did like a spa day?
That would be wonderful.
Because you were saying when you were going to come here, you wanted to get a hotel room with a jacuzzi tub. So I was like, we get a nice hotel room. We could go to the spa. We could do like a girls' day. So, and now that my office is not opening back up, technically I could take off a Monday and actually do like a full day or something.
Yeah.
So it's an idea. And celebrate our birthdays late.
That would be so much fun.
I know, because like, that's what you see, all these things, and I've looked into them. They're not like crazy expensive. I always thought that they were one of those things that like, if you go to a spa, you'll basically bankrupt yourself. But it's like, no, a facial's like $60, a massage is like $100. You can get a wrap for like $100. So it's like, I pay $500 and get like, you know, all my skin glistening. Well, you can pay less than that.
Yeah. Yeah, and usually if you're buying like a big package deal, it's gonna be cheaper anyways.
They have Groupons too. Find Groupon for all that stuff. So we should look into that. We should definitely do that. The only other thing I have for today is in celebrity news. So something cool that is the first time this ever happening. Dancing with the Stars has its first same-sex couple that is going to be dancing together.
It's well overdue.
Yeah, they're on like season 30 or 25. It's 25 or 30. JoJo Siwa. So she recently came out as queer, and she is going to be on Dancing with the Stars this season. And they said that for the first time, she's going to be dancing with a woman. So I'm like, oh, that's super cool. So I'm excited to see that. Watch like the beginning of it. And then somewhere in the middle, I just like stop watching every single season. And I do the
I've watched a few random episodes, but I've never just watched it.
Yeah, like I lose interest in the week to week. I do the same thing with Masked Singer. Like I watch it in the beginning and I'm like, oh, I'm so into this. This is so cool. But then all of my shows are happening. And then I'm like, okay, I don't have time to watch this one. I'll just watch it later. And then you have 5 episodes backed up and you're just like, you know what? I'm just never going to watch these. And you just like cut as a loss. So
that's good.
Yeah. So that's super exciting.
Hold on. I'm so sorry. You can't clear my throat. Okay.
Got this?
Yeah. And then I'm also
like for it.
I keep wanting to get up to do stuff, but I'm not because I don't have pants on.
Amazing.
I'm not wearing pants. My son was throwing a huge fit right when it was time to start. So I had to go tend to that and everything. And then I was like, I ain't worrying about pants. You can't see my butt anyways.
I actually put on pants this time because you told me to take new photos. So I was like, oh, my last photo, I'm not wearing pants in it. And like, it's super cute.
I love that picture.
I know. But I was like, no, put on some shorts or something this time and like be a respectable member of society. So I put on pants. So that's why you're not wearing pants because I'm wearing pants.
Yeah, we only have one pair of pants between the both of us.
So start out of the traveling pants.
Right, I'm gonna watch that movie forever.
That would. I was gonna say we have a very significant height difference, so like that would be interesting.
But that's how it is in that movie too, though.
I know,
like
yeah.
The really tall, skinny one. All the different shapes and sizes can wear those pants.
Yep. So the baby from the Nirvana Nevermind cover is suing for child pornography. So he is saying that he did not consent to being in that photograph.
And his genitals are there for a whole world to see.
They are. But what's interesting about it is he's suing now. He has recreated that photo a couple different times. Now, granted, he was wearing shorts in them, but like, I'm curious why now. Yeah. So because he's like, I could see it if he like, was embarrassing for him the whole time, he didn't like talking about it, he didn't like this, but he like really liked it. Like it was a big like thing that he was like proud of. And then
maybe he found out some creepy people were using it for their own pleasure.
Possible.
And was like, wait a minute, no, that's not okay.
Yeah, so he's 25, and I guess he said that his parents never signed a waiver consenting. So because of that, he's suing the 2 living members of Nirvana. He's also suing Kurt Cobain's estate, which I don't know why I can't remember her name, but his wife or ex-wife,
Courtney Love.
Yes, Courtney Love is in charge of that. And I think he's possibly suing the production company as well. So I am curious, but like the internet was having a field day with it because they were like, so there's a ton of memes for it of like people that other kids who were on like covers of articles are like, this person's traumatized by this. So like, it's one thing where you're kind of like, okay, I totally get it. It can be traumatic. He didn't consent to it. It does have his full genitals on display. But on the other hand, he's been okay with it and he's done like interviews and he's been like, I'm the Nirvana baby. I'm recreating this. I'm doing like he's recreated it a couple times. So it's like, what's the real reason here? So a lot of people think it's just because like he doesn't want to work and he wants money. So I'm on the fence on it. Like, yeah, it's a weird one, but that's something that's in the news that like I'm kind of following because I'm curious how that plays out. And then the last thing that I have, Tony Hawk is making skateboards infused with his blood. So he gave 2 vials of blood to be mixed in with the paint that they're using in the ink of the skateboards. And he is not receiving the backlash that Lil Nas X received when he released his shoes. With the drop of blood in them. And people are taking notice of it. So the internet is like, so why is Tony Hawk okay to put vials of blood in his skateboards, but Lil Nas X couldn't put blood in this? And then his the company that's sponsoring it is a water company, like Death Something Water. But
maybe the difference is because Lil Nas X didn't have Nike's permission.
Well, that was the legal battle of it, but people were specifically upset about the blood in it. So there was 2 separate issues with Lil Nas X, and it was the legal issue of like Nike didn't okay it. And I feel like if people had been as upset about the blood, Nike would have been fine with it.
Free advertisement.
Yeah, but because everybody was like all up in their like business about like how it's, you know, satanic and whatever, and it's awful. But yeah, Tony Hawk is not receiving that kind of backlash. And the water company said, this isn't a ripoff of Lil Nas X. We are doing it because in 1977, Kiss had a comic book and they all gave blood to be mixed in with the ink that was used to make the comic book. So like, that's what we're doing it off of. We're not doing it because Lil Nas X did it. But I'm like, aren't you though? But I was super.
Either way, it's creepy.
Yeah, either way, it's
like
creepy.
That's got your DNA and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, and like
trying to get witches to put curses on you or something.
Yeah, it was interesting that like literally all of the comments were like positive, but his did not sell out nearly as quickly. So Lil Nas X, his shoes sold out in 1 minute. Yeah, Tony Hawk skateboards took 20. That's a significant
what a loser.
Difference. And Tony Hawk skateboards were $500 each, and Lil Nas X's shoes were $1,000.
But how many did each of them have?
Let me see. I think Tony Hawk. Let me see.
Because if he had 20 times more, I mean.
Yeah, let me see. Okay, so the Satan shoes by Lil Nas X. Oh, should have known. It was 666
shoes.
Yes, and. He had 100. So 100 skateboards at $500 a piece did not sell out as quickly as 666 pairs of shoes at $1,000 a piece. So how embarrassing.
Yeah, but it could be also their website was shit.
I think it's really just there's not as big of a market for skateboards. Like shoes.
Everybody wears shoes. Not everybody skateboards.
Well, I can't imagine that people are going to be like wearing those shoes. I found that like with those shoes, you don't wear them. You just have a closet full of them on display so that you can say you have all of these like
I'd wear them.
shoes. I would too. But also like there are $1,000.
Look at my fancy blood shoes.
Right?
So if anyone wants to send me a pair, I will wear them and show them off to all my friends.
And then send them back once they've been worn a little bit.
Yeah, and then if you're a fetish person, I will send them back to you gladly.
There is a market for that. People, you can wear like send your socks and shoes and like people will make like.
I want to sell those things.
Yeah, I do too. Like they literally, I think like that's another thing that I think is cool. Where like, if I had somebody that was like running the request line for me and all I had to do was, hey, somebody wants you to wear the same pair of socks and work out 3 days in a row and send it back on it, boss.
That would get me back in the gym regularly. I went last week. I haven't, or this week. So I need to go this next week.
But yeah, like that goes along with the kinks that are just like absolutely fascinating. Like, you tell me what you want, I'll see what I can do. Send it back. You send me a bunch of money. Like, you want blue shoes?
We don't kink shame. You know, it's whatever for the right price.
Yeah, for the right price.
Everyone can be bought at the right price.
So that is all I have. Do you have anything fun that you've seen this week?
I don't know. I've been playing video games.
Yeah, see,
I have nothing to do. I've been enjoying my kids being at school. I've actually done some housework while they're at school. Go and visit my grandmother, and play video games.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye. You know, I've been refraining from doing the middle part as the thing. I'm a side part person. I was like, no, you know what? I always had a middle part when I was growing up, when I was a teenager. And now that's coming back. And it's back. And now the curtain bangs are in. I was like, I'm going to cut me some little things. And then my extensions came in today. So I was like, I'm going to add my extensions.
Oh my God, what a good episode. Day.
I know. And then I play video games.
I'm so glad that I got the air wrap because they make the curtain bangs so easy. Like
I used a curling iron to try and make mine, but my hair doesn't curl with a curling iron.
Yeah, it just you have to round brush them. And like, as somebody who doesn't know how to round brush their hair, like the air wrap does it for me and it's so easy. And I'm like, for this feature alone, like worth it. Yeah, you gotta get you one of them.
But William complimented me on my hair. I was like, your hair looks really good like that. I was like, oh, thank you.
A compliment from a teenager?
I know.
Like, I was saying she's was a Gen Z. So she's supposed to roast you for, because I can't remember. It's either, because I feel like the middle part they were against recently too. Like they were against the middle part. And they like said side part was where it's at. And they're like, you millennials look stupid with your middle part. And we're like, fuck you, you bunch of children.
Right. Like,
yeah. I can't do the side part. My hair does not do it.
Mine usually wants to part right here. Go over.
That's good.
But
yeah, like I'll try it.
Growing up, I did the middle part because my mom used to call me the butt part. She's like, it just sounds like you got a big butt on your head.
Like it's just how it fits.
I mean, I was like, I kind of like it, and it covers my big forehead better. But I like it.
I want to go and get a wig that has bangs because I always want to see like what I'd look like with bangs, but I just can't. I can't possibly do that. I remember I went when I was a teenager. I let a friend cut my bangs, which, a teenager cutting another teenager's bangs is never going to work well. So she cut them like super, super short. So they're like, up here. And she didn't do the thing where they're like layered. She just did a straight across line. So they looked stupid. I was going on vacation. My mom literally had to take me to the super Walmart by the vacation place because they had like a great clips inside of it. They're like, can you fix them? And they're like, girl, no, like you cut your bang. Like they legit were like, no, like get some clips and you're gonna have to clip your hair back until it grows out. But I was like, please fix it. And they're like, we literally cannot do anything. Like, why did you do this? And I was like, because I'm 14.
That's funny. I used to cut my hair all the time as a kid.
Yeah.
Like I would have like the short, and kind of tapered down and where it's kind of like the poof that it was a little bit before your time.
I never did like anything. I never did my own hair. I used to do the sun in like every other teen girl did. And then for a while, I don't know why I started dyeing my hair brown, but I was a brunette for like 10 years starting in high school. I just like decided I'm like, I don't want to be a blonde. And I like would dye my hair, but then my hair is so light that when it would grow in, it looked like I had gray hair in high school.
That's how mine is when I have my hair dark.
Yeah. So then I eventually I was like, oh, I'm going to go back to blonde. And then I end up being a redhead for a while, but that's just, it's too much upkeep. And so now I'm blonde and now I'm like, never change it again. You'll never get back to this color.
I think about going back dark and then I'm like, it's too much work to get back to this. So I'm just not doing it.
Well, that's why you just got to get the wigs. Like, you have to get the wigs. It's the only way.